So the parasitic reptilian species uses the AI system to systematically locate and catalog all beings born on this planet. The reason that they do this is they are always trying to know what frequencies and vibrations are being born on the planet. Now, some don't start to raise their frequency and vibration until, later in life. Some are just, some are born with already existing high frequencies and vibrations. And beings who, that's another reason for things like the indoctrination, the brainwashing, the school, the programming in the schools, the indoctrination there. Same thing with colleges. The society has been engineered to where it tries to, based on certain criteria, it tries to force beings into boxes. And what they try to do is locate those with high frequency and vibrations to then basically one of their intents or goals is to obstruct and or prevent a large quantity, or I should just say many, beings with high frequencies and vibrations. There is they try to, apologize for the lack of flow. So they will try to inhibit certain frequencies and vibrations. They also try to inhibit beings from reaching certain frequencies and vibrations. And with the social engineering, they have developed methods in which to do this. There's always going to be a percentage that they rape from benevolent beings. And then there's also their intent to try and obstruct beings from reaching certain frequencies and vibrations. So now, because that's a part of how they do things and what they force on this planet, when it comes to tribal peoples, Indians, Celtic peoples, most Native American tribes, and along with the Celtic peoples, basically any tribe or group of people that uh, the government has actively sought out to depopulate and or annihilate are those peoples, are those beings who, number one, most of them are reincarnated from Lemuria and a small percentage from Atlantis. These beings, these peoples, tribes, groups of people, okay, so the reason the reptilians seek out those ones is because most of the tribal groups and peoples hold and carry the original frequency vibrations, lights, sounds, energies, and resonances, genetics, DNA from prior timelines. And then, of course, there are beings here who have also been other places, not just in this place, but are coming from, if you believe that there's a universe, then these beings would be coming from, other places in the universe. And some of those beings are coming from planets that have been destroyed and annihilated by the reptilian species. And they have either been either their soul chose to come here for whatever reason, or early on, when those planets were being invaded, they were many of them were stolen, and then brought here for most likely slavery, breeding purposes, genetic purposes, things like that. And that's more so the case with many beings. Those who you would call starseeds, galactics, indigos, possibly. Many of these beings that had their own homes, their home planets destroyed by a parasitic species. Many of them were then taken, those who were left were taken, stolen, and then kept for slavery, breeding, and genetic purposes. So here we are. That is why there are many beings who do not feel that they are from here, who feel like they are from somewhere else, who do not really feel like, that they belong here. Most of those beings are coming from somewhere else. And some of those beings might remember the original trauma, the original intrusion, and some may not. but the reptilian species, they like to they intentionally make it a point to locate and find beings by their frequency and vibration. And of course, then they also seek out beings by their genetics, DNA, bloodlines. And then, even though it is not up to them, they then try and, if they are of high vibration and frequency, the reptilians then will try to take action. If the indoctrination on this planet is working on those beings, then for the most part, they are left alone. But are intentionally obstructed in one form or another in their lifetimes, to keep their frequency and vibration either where it's at, or things are done to try and lower that being's frequency and vibration. Or the other scenario is that whatever beings are in question, if they're raising their frequency and vibration and the indoctrination isn't working, and the social engineering isn't working, and those beings continue to ask questions and go beyond gatekeepers, and still are, don't believe the lies, is when the reptilians will take further action, or I should say up to this point, have taken further action, and those actions become very invasive. And then you have what is currently known as, or beings that are referred to in some circles as targeted individuals. As I said, some of those beings don't really know. They might not be cognizant of their genetics, their bloodline, their DNA. They might not be aware of their like the degree or the level of their frequency and vibration, but it is such that draws attention from negative entities. When one has a high frequency and vibration and light, it can be seen from quite a distance. I'm not sure of the range that it extends outward. However, I do know that the heart chakra can radiate love outward for miles. So then it makes sense that someone's frequency, vibration, and light can, again, be seen from quite a distance. So, because the reptilians have up to this point been practicing or using those methods on this planet, many of the tribal peoples, Indians, Celtic peoples, are carrying original, organic, and from prior timelines, those frequencies, vibrations, lights, sounds, energies, and resonances, genetics, DNA, bloodlines, and light codes. And that is what the reptilians have been looking for. And it's not for any, it is not for reasons that are positive. It is not for, they're not trying to locate those beings for benevolent purposes. And that is how that they have systematically tried to depopulate and annihilate many of the tribal peoples, the Celtic peoples, many of the Indian tribes, and others. They are trying to obstruct evolution here. And when there are beings who are holding and carrying those frequencies and vibrations, DNA, bloodline, genetics, codes from originating from different timelines that are when this planet was in a higher dimension. Those are very powerful. And those can affect change quickly. And those kinds of frequencies and vibrations and light can also affect more people, masses of people, especially entire tribes of them. You know, if you have an entire tribe who have reincarnated from Lemuria, those tribes hold great power. And they hold true benevolent frequencies that are very high. And they're whatever it is that they do in their tribe, even though they might be, out in nature, far away from the general public, their frequencies and vibrations and resonances are such that they reverberate outwards into the organic and etheric fields. And they, those tribes can greatly affect the masses without even being anywhere near them. So that is why the government, factions of the government, early on took action or tried to depopulate and annihilate certain tribes and groups of people. Now, some of you may have already known that. I'm not sure, but it is another aspect that that any benevolent being contemplating these things might find of value, and may want to contemplate further on those, and might even hold significance depending on your lineage, your bloodline. And it also might help to make sense of other things. So I did want to shed light on that specific aspect. And I'm one moment, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to bring up. I know that my subcount of true benevolent beings is very small. But I have to say that I do wonder if any of these recordings are really making a difference, if they're helpful or informative for any possible benevolent beings who might be listening, and if they I do wonder if any other benevolent beings are have been forcibly shown these things that I have been forced to see and to know, and if they are experiencing some of the some similar perceptions of things, and how it is that they deal with that and work with that. I realize that the things that I have been forcibly shown are not warm and fuzzy, and they're very severe and very stark. And many of my perceptions are also very severe, and are I would say that the circumstances that I've been forced to experience, they're I don't know. I mean, I think that there is a large group of targeted individuals. I am not so certain that out of those targeted individuals, the circumstances being forced on me, I'm not sure how many others these circumstances are being forced on. So I mean, obviously I would hope not very many. Well, I would hope none, right? That's the thing, is I would hope no other being would have these kinds of circumstances forced on them. However, being a targeted individual, if you consider yourself to be one who has been specifically targeted and tortured and raped by technology, by factions of the government, by certain agencies, right? If you are one who has been experiencing those kinds of things, none of those experiences are anything that any being would want being forced on them, obviously. So I'm just not sure if there are any others out there experiencing things to the same degree, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know how helpful these recordings might be to other benevolent beings listening. And Well, at some point, I think that uh, the amount of benevolent beings in this place and or on this planet is very, very small. And I think that at some point we should really try and focus as a group, focus on coming together and trying to communicate with each other, even if we are in different places on the planet. I still think it would be worthwhile to try and come together and try and discuss what's being forced on the planet, what can be done about it, you know, and all the things that go along with that. Like have some kind of a council or a group that talks about these things. I think at some point that would be very important. And I think that we are getting to that time. Very quickly. And it may be that people are, benevolent beings just are not seeing how to go about doing that, or how to go about trying to organize or come together. But I think it would be worth trying to find a way to come together as a group and to discuss some very important topics, discuss what is being forced on this planet, and discuss the fact that it's that it's being forced on a group of us, and the reasons why for that, right? Like there's some, I think the reasons that they're specifically targeting, trying to murder benevolent beings, like I really think that should be a topic of focus. And I think there's some things there that that need to be discussed and talked about. And hopefully at some point we can actually, as a group, we can do that. I hope. Personally, for myself, I know that that I'm done with this place, and I know it to be a farm, and I know that they've been farming humans here, and because of some other circumstances having to do with the universe itself, and up to this point, lack of true benevolent assistance, for all those reasons, that I would just prefer to find the exits and take my leave of this place and move elsewhere, go somewhere else. Either a different universe, a different part of the galaxy, what have you. I do see those things as possible. Now, some may not. Some might not be able to fathom those things. Personally, I think it is possible. And so those are some of the things that I contemplate. And because of what this place is and how things have been being run in this place and in this universe, I think those should be questions that other benevolent beings should also, at some point, I would think, try and contemplate. That's just my personal feeling on the matter. So I I brought that aspect up because I wanted to shed some, or bring light to it, and I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this recording up. I hope that you all are doing well, or at least trying to be as strong as you can, trying to work with strengthening your astral bodies, and working on your working with your gift, skills, and abilities, trying to become stronger, and trying to better protect yourselves, and continuing to do that. It would also be interesting to know whether any of the benevolent beings working on those things are experiencing issues, impediments, experiencing like entity manipulation, fuckery, that kind of thing. I know that personally there's been a lot of that being forced personally. I don't know if it's the same with others who are also might be working with their astral body in their abilities and trying to protect themselves. But I mean, I would hope not, but then I'm not entirely sure. So I know that personally there has been that being forced on me. So, it's just another thing that I do think on, and I wonder about if it's the same or if it's different for other benevolent beings. So, all right, well, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Do your best to continue being strong, and know that you are a powerful being, and have believe in yourself and have faith in yourself and trust yourself, and if there are other benevolent beings that you do trust, then you'll continue with that. Okay, and sorry for the ramble. Okay, until next time, take care.